Hi there, I'm back again with the Sunday's reflection. And today's Sunday, it's a very interesting parable that Jesus told us, the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. This parable basically teaches us how we need to live our lives, especially how we need to go around with the riches that we have, the earnings that we have in our lives. It's a kind of awareness that Jesus brings about to us, an awareness about our relationship or our attitude towards the poor people in society, and how thankful and grateful we are to God for the blessings that we have received in our lives. However, I would like to just continue to reflect on St. Paul's letter to Timothy, that is a second reading of the day. I believe even Paul, if he were to be alive till today, he would surely be most amazed how his words are so relevant to our times, exactly for our times, to our generation, where we hear a lot of religious conflicts in our societies, in our world. He says, strive steadfastly for faith, love, gentleness, and Paul urges Timothy, as we have heard in the first reading, yeah. What a change there might have been in Paul's own life, because he was a person who was persecuting Christians very much. He dragged them before the courts and used to punish them because he wanted to defend his own Jewish religion. And now he's calling Timothy and writes to him, says, do away with all such kind of practices, or one doesn't have to really use violence to defend one's own faith. And now he says to proclaim the message of Jesus with all sort of meekness and patience. This is what Paul has learned in his life. In terms of content, the apostle is saying our task as Christians is not to lead Christianity into triumph for all to see, a kind of showy thing. Big churches, or what to say, Christianity should be the first religion, or it triumphs and is the best religion. No, we don't have to go for that. But we need to live with all seriousness and dedication the message, exactly the message that Jesus gave us, and thus bearing witness to Him, Christ. In a world where faith or one's own religion becomes a reason to become radical, fundamentalistic, or even terroristic, these words teach us how to practice our faith. This realization that testimony of faith and transmission of faith, must not be coupled with violence, agitation, or because violence only destroys, and it is what Paul wants to convey to Timothy from his own experience when he calls him to meekness, to set Jesus before him as an example. Jesus never used violence, and but not only that, he never used the miracles he worked, the popularity and joy to increase and raise his own prestige, and thus extending his own power and influence. Jesus didn't do all that. Jesus performed miracles to save people, to help people, to show the love of the Father. I think Jesus was not concerned about the triumph, as Paul actually meant. We must, and Paul wants to tell us, or Timothy, not only look at what Jesus did, but how he did it and why he did it. That was very important. He, the Son of Man, was concerned with nothing other than showing us the way that leads us into a deep inner connection with God and with each other, human beings. And this is what even the gospel is trying to tell us, the message, the parable of Jesus. The difference between the rich and the poor man. There is no difference actually. We are all the same human beings, children of God. And we ought to realize that fact always and treat others with respect. In particular, Paul gives us on the way. It is not about the triumph of Christianity, once again, but about the lived love. As we can observe it in the behavior of Jesus time and again, Jesus clearly rejected violence. And this is also seen very clearly in the life of St. Francis of Assisi. Well, we can't go out without mentioning the name of St. Francis of Assisi when we talk some themes like this, the rich and the poor. He is so consciously chosen to live the life of a poverello, a very poor man, because he wanted to identify himself with the poor people and to feel the suffering of the poor people, the rejection that they face in the society. And through that, he wanted to convey the message that Jesus, the Lord, has created us equally. We are all his children. And that is why we should strive, I believe, brothers and sisters. That is why we should strive every day anew to follow this Paul's call. Strive tirelessly, he says, for righteousness, godliness, faith, love, and gentleness. For this brings out great joy among the people with whom we live. It honors God, who strengthens us in all our good endeavors, and it shapes our hearts according to the nature of God, or Jesus, who lived love without grasping even for prestige and triumph. Brothers and sisters, let's carry this message all through our lives, and let us begin it with this week, because our society today requires a message like this. Thank you for listening to this small reflection, and I wish you a wonderful and pleasant Sunday with your family and beloved ones, and God's blessings all through the week. Bye bye and take care.